The following is a pre-recorded show. Welcome to Winning in Retirement with your host, Brian Akers, certified financial planner professional and founder of Akers Financial Group. Now, helping you win in your retirement, here's Brian Akers.
Hello, I'm Brian Akers from Akers Financial Group. I'm the founder and president of Akers Financial Group, and we welcome you to Winning in Retirement. Today is our co-host with me is Jeff Akers, Vice President, Certified Financial Planner Practitioner. Jeff Akers, good morning.
All that good stuff. Good morning, Brian. Good to see you.
Happy to see you.
Yeah.
May I see you?
Yes, may you see me. It is a great day in May.
All right. That's all the dumb May comments we can do.
For now. We'll have some more later, I'm sure.
Yeah, we may get silly as we go along.
We may.
So winning in retirement, what happens is when you're doing financial planning, there's a lot goes on in your head and things you want to do. One of the topics in financial planning is when you have kids, you begin to think about their future and you come up with the idea of trying to do something for them to help pay for that large number called college.
Yes, college is a large number, and when you think long and hard about it, it can be scary.
It can be. And so we designed a show called Tuition or Taxes.
Ooh.
Which one do you like, Jeff?
Yeah, I'd rather pay tuition than the taxes, because tuition is going to help my child.
Right.
Taxes, not so much.
Right. So what we're going to do is talk about 529 plans. And so tuition or taxes and what a 529 plan is. And then being here in Maryland, understanding some of the issues of having a 529 plan in Maryland and why some people might be a little nervous about them at the current time. We're going to try to cover the hard subject first.
Yeah, or even a little upset about them right now.
Right. And so with Jeff Akers as a CFP, Certified Financial Planner Practitioner.
Easy for you to say.
It's not with all the P words today.
That's right.
The P words are positive words, but I'm pretty hard for me.
Pretty hard for the P's.
And it's very hard to say prepaid plan. Because that is really the main topic we're going to start with. In Maryland, there are a prepaid plan.
Right.
And that is the plan that's had the issues where you've seen all the articles.
That's correct. It's important to understand that there are two plans, but the prepaid plan is the one that's had the issues, and you might have seen in the news, and there's been people upset with that one.
Right. So we're not investigative reporters. No. We're financial advisors, and we have to cover some basic topics. But as we talk about tuition or taxes in 529, what we want you to think about is this. I probably need someone to talk about to see what's best to do for my kids or even our grandkids. You know, the ones where you want to leave a legacy of education, where you truly want them to be extremely well educated as we grow to the future with them.
Right. Yeah, we want them to know what's going on, and we want to take care of that.
Absolutely.
Do you want to get into what the problem was?
Yeah, let's cover some basics of the Maryland prepaid plan.
Okay.
What it is and what it still is and what happened.
Right. So what it is, prepaid plan just kind of says it all. You would buy college for your child at today's prices, and then when they were old enough to go to college, you had paid for a semester. And so that semester is covered, and then you don't have to worry about it. Now, inside the plan, they had something called a minimum guarantee value, and that earned an interest rate. In reality, if you look at the history, it didn't really earn anything, but that would earn an interest rate. And if that was higher than the tuition, then you'd have a little extra money that you could use for room and board and books and all that kind of stuff. Or if your child went to school outside of the state of Maryland, you could use that money to pay the difference in tuition, because a prepaid plan for Maryland would only pay the tuition for Maryland public schools. It wouldn't pay the tuition for a private school or an out-of-state school, but it would pay a part of it. And they had a calculation to determine how much that would be. And the problem came up because there was a change to the interest rate. There was also a change to the company that managed the plan, and they happened at the same time, and they created a problem where there was a miscalculation, and they sent out statements, and information was on their website telling parents that they had a lot of money in their plan for their student. And parents that were getting ready to send their student to college were like, yay, okay, you can go wherever you want. We got it covered.
You don't have to go to Maryland.
Right.
Because the payout to let you take it to go to another state was that number that was on the statement.
Right. It was high enough to cover that difference even. And so they said their kids could go, and then they go to take a withdrawal from the plan, and Maryland says, sorry, you don't have that much money in your plan because there was a calculation error. Well, this issue's been going on for a while, but basically they told parents, you've got this big chunk of money until it came time to use it, and then they said, never mind, you don't have that anymore. And parents are kind of upset about that.
Now, at Acres Financial Group, we have hardly ever used a prepaid plan ever.
We've had people that had them come to us,
Right.
but I know I've never recommended that. I've recommended the investment side.
And the reasons is the prepaid plan, if you know when that kid's 4 or 5 years old, they're going to a Maryland school, you do lock in tuition.
Right.
The thing we found probably a decade ago is that the legislation can actually change which tuition they tie to and what tuition they guarantee. So they changed the rule of the game. It's like you would assume that if you had a Maryland tuition plan, you could go to Maryland, like College Park, Maryland, and pay tuition.
Yeah.
That's an assumption. That's not the actual
Didn't
truth.
turn out to be true.
No, and the other thing was if a client, one client had a prepaid plan and daughter decided to go to like in New York to up there and wanted to cash out and they actually got back less money than they put in.
Right.
So it's like prepaid, very guaranteed, really perceived as no risk, became risky because it went down.
Right. It was.
And that's really not what we want. We're trying to plan college, especially when they become a sophomore or junior and you're getting close to those college decisions. And you're saying, well, financially, we can support half your tuition, 3/4, or hey, we got all of it in the account. Those are big, important times. And you really don't want to get too far in the hole when it comes to preventing your own retirement because you made a college promise and you're way short.
Right, and now you're short. And after hearing us, I'm sure that there's nobody running out wanting to do a prepaid plan right now, but after June 1st, you can't. Anyway, Maryland did pass a law that board, that 529 board is going to be disbanded, and the Treasury Secretary of the state is going to take over, and they're going to stop doing the prepaid plan. Completely. So they're not going to take any new enrollments after June 1st.
And that's 2023.
2023, yep.
And the idea is this as well, 529. 529 is a plan, and this being May, I'm thinking about May 529.
Hey, 529. It's almost like a date this month.
Yeah, it could be.
It could
just
be.
for a day.
Yeah, we kind of use that to talk to people about 529s. It's just a good opportunity.
All right, so we talked about the issue of the prepaid plan and understand that does not apply to the other side of the Maryland 529 plan. Maryland529.com is by T. Rowe Price. It's by the state of Maryland chose to work with them. It's a no-load mutual fund system that you go through there. You work direct with them.
Right.
If advisors like us are involved at all, we get paid planning fees. We don't get paid for investing or doing that money for you.
Yeah, that 529 plan does not pay us.
Yeah, there's no commission on or anything like that. But the Maryland 529 plan, that has a investment plan piece.
Right.
And that's where in the 529, you put money in. Maryland, if you're a state resident, you get a deduction for what you put in off your state taxes up to $2,500 per person per year, which is roughly $190 off your tax.
Right.
So if we had, not we, but like you and your wife had 2 boys, and if you fully fund it, how much deduction could you take off your Maryland tax in 1 year?
Well, it's kind of tricky because I could put $2,500 for each of them, so there's $5,000, and then my wife could put $2,500 for each of them, so a total of $10,000.
So with 2 kids, 2 people, $10,000, or think about it, one person can do $5,000. Yep. Then that's a deduction off your state Maryland tax if you're a Maryland resident. Right,
just state taxes. We're not talking federal taxes on that.
Now, for Maryland residents, there's really only one plan that you can get a deduction, and that's this plan, the Maryland 529 plan through T. Rowe Price, which is the website, maryland529.com.
Yep.
You should definitely read all the information there, watch the videos, and understand what's going on. The idea is you can actually put money in 529 plans anywhere in the country. You're not limited to just buying Maryland. There's an information webpage that we use a lot called savingforcollege.com. Mm-hmm. That's a site where you can shop around for wherever the client may be. We had clients retire to Pennsylvania, and they had grandchildren 529 plans. And one of the tax laws up in Pennsylvania is you're allowed to deduct $17,000 off your Pennsylvania income tax. Mm-hmm. No matter where your 529 plan is.
Right. You don't have to use the Pennsylvania plan to get the deduction.
So the hard part is that 529s are all run state by state by state. So everyone has new rules and different investment plans and lots of choices. And There are plans out there where we can actually be a stockbroker for you for Virginia and for California and a few others.
Yeah.
So there are some options out there depending on how you want to invest the money.
Right. So just to keep in mind, 529 plans, state by state, investment by investment. You kind of want to pick the state, and sometimes the investment helps you pick which state you're going to use for the plan. So,
and when the child is getting close to college, hey, maybe not invest in stocks, invest in low risk. Try to find the best fixed account out there, and they're hard to find. There's only a couple of states that offer fixed as an option. They are very hard to find right now. There used to be a couple around, but there are not many now. So a 529 plan, why would someone want to do this? And the idea is you put money in, you might get a tax deduction, but then it grows tax-free for you to use for qualified college expenses.
It's a little bit like a Roth IRA, but for education.
Right. So our topic's called tuition or taxes. If you're going to save the money in the bank, you're going to pay tax on the interest. If you put it into a 529, the growth is all tax-free. So the more time you have, the more that you can set that money up to grow, the more you can take advantage of the tax-free growth if used for what kind of expenses, Jeff?
Well, qualified expenses. So it's going to be things like tuition and room and board and books and stuff like that. Stuff you think about for college.
Lab fees.
Right. Yeah.
Now, when you file your taxes, if you don't have a tuition or a receipt from the school, and you take money out of 529 plan, you could end up with a taxable event where you actually pay tax on the growth.
Right. You have to be careful just to make sure that you've got proof. It's like anything. Make sure you've got proof of what you did when it comes to your taxes. What
we're doing is trying to explain the 529 plan in a simple way. It's not that simple.
It's not.
We got a lot of information to give you. There's a lot of talk about the 529 plans, tuition or taxes. At Acres Financial Group, we're local. We're independent. We report to not to a big company on Wall Street or a company in Iowa, anything like that. We report to you. We have offices in Lutherville and Forest Hill and clients all around the country. It's so easy to begin winning in retirement. You can call us for a free consultation with one of our team of advisors. Call us at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. And we'll give you a call on Monday to schedule your free in-person or Zoom meeting. Go to acresfinancialgroup.com or call us at 833-946-7384 to start planning for your retirement now. How do you use the money you saved for their college? Let's talk about it right after this break.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. I am Brian Akers, and here with me today is Jeff Akers. We are both certified financial planner practitioners from Acres Financial Group. That's right here in Maryland, but we do work with clients all around the United States. Yep. It's fun with the magic of the Zoom or the video conferencing. It's pretty fun, but in person is also incredibly good.
Yeah, I like in person better because it's just nice to be in the same room with someone, but it's nice to be on video too sometimes when folks live farther away.
The day's show is basically this. We want to help you with paying tuition and not taxes. Now, what that means that a 529 plan is a way of saving for college, trade school, all kinds of things, even private school before they get into the secondary. Mm-hmm. What you can actually do is use this money for many, many different things. And you have to understand the plan. So we call this show Tuition or Taxes. So as you're driving around, you're thinking about, hey, tuition or taxes. Hey, thankfully I've already paid for my kids. Then these grandkids pop out and all of a sudden like, Wait,
I want to help them.
I want to help that kid.
Right. And I don't want to pay taxes to do it.
We do have some clients that say, I paid for my kid. Their kid's their responsibility, their problem. So maybe this show's not exciting to you, but the 529 is a fun thing when it comes down to, you get some tax deductions, some tax-free growth. It can be something all for the family. And we're going to talk about all these rules as we get going through here. Let's start with this question, Jeff.
Okay.
How do you use the money you saved for their college? So how does that work once you put money in a 529 plan?
Well, when they go to college, they're going to have bills. You're going to see bills for tuition and room and board and stuff like that. And so you can take a withdrawal from the 529 to pay that bill. And so one way to be sure that you don't take an excess or excess distribution from your 529 plan is just take the money, pay the bill, and that's it. Now, there are some expenses that you can pay that you might not get a bill like that. Like room and board, if they live on campus, you get a bill, no problem. If they don't live on campus, you are allowed to use 529 money for that, but only for the time that they're in school. So it's not like you can pay rent for 12 months because they're not in school for 12 months. So you just have to be careful about how you take money out to pay for those kinds of expenses.
How about like a school requires a computer?
A computer, you can buy that. You can get the internet. They can get internet service for the student as long as they're using that for school. And technically the rule says primarily for school because the kids are going to play video games, but...
And the reality is you really need to have these receipts when you talk to your accountant.
Right.
Because if the accountant just looks at the tuition receipt, they might say, oh, you took out too much.
Right.
And you got to give reason on why you are allowed to deduct so you don't end up paying tax on that growth.
Right, because you got to put information into your tax return that shows here's what it was used to pay for, and what it's used to pay for had better be more than what you took out of the 529.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So how do you use the money you save for their college? On what Jeff was explaining is someone graduates high school and they're going to college, community college, local, any type of college you can think of. Also, trade schools, tech schools. If you want to become an auto mechanic, if you go to school for that. If you want to be a journeyman electrician, you go through school with that if the employer doesn't pay for it.
Right.
Then there is the idea of you can actually use some money on a student loan.
Up to $10,000.
And so if you have a student loan, you can pay $10,000 of it off out of your 529 plan.
Right. So most of the time, that's a strategy where you use 529 money and maybe you took out some student loans and they get finished with school and you've still got money in the 529. Well, 10,000 of it you can use to pay that student loan down. Yeah. So I wish you could do more than that, but 10,000 is the limit.
It's just an option inside to use it.
Yep.
Now, imagine that you have 529 plans, and you decide to have your kids go to private school. This could be private pre-K, private kindergarten, elementary, middle school, anything like that. You can actually take up to $10,000 a year out of a 529 plan to pay for private school.
Yep, and that's a relatively recent change to 529s. If you heard about 529s a decade ago, that was not an option. But more recently, that has become an option to use 529 money for before college.
Yeah, so the other thing that you have to understand is that 529s and something called the FAFSA, they work well together in most cases. They do not work as well out of a grandparent's 529 to the child when they're in college.
Right.
There is a new FAFSA procedure and rules coming out for next year, for 2024, where they're not going to punish grandparents for saving for college for kids and count the money at a high level of withdrawal.
They're not going to punish the grandparents?
Absolutely. They're going to have the same rules as if it's like the parents. So that's going to be a new rule, not for this coming fall in 23, but the next fall, 24.
So they're not going to count that distribution that the grandparent took for the grandchild as income for the grandchild.
Right. And then they're also going to rename the family education contribution limit to something called a standard index. And instead of saying, if you read articles, it's a little funny. They say that FAFSA comes up and says, oh, your family can afford this. And the first thing a family says, no, we can't.
No, I can't.
I ain't sending all my money I make to college. But that's what the family education contribution limit looks like.
Yeah.
So they renamed it.
Right. That makes it better.
Sorry. What it does, the idea of the bill that got passed and going into next year is going to actually give more money to those that need it. And then retitle the labeling of it so you won't feel as bad when the college kid gets the report and they're having to talk with the parent about, well, why can't I go to college? It says we could afford it. It's like, well, that's what that says. We really can't.
Right. They're not paying for it. They're telling you that I can afford it, and I'm telling you I can't.
Yeah, so things in our past. So in financial planning, sometimes the grandparents save for the grandkid, and then we tell them to tell the kids as the kid gets ready for college, and they would use it in the freshman year. And we didn't we didn't really know that they were trying to get financial aid.
Right.
And so then the second year, the use of the grandparents 529 in the freshman year counted really against them, against financial aid the second year.
Yeah, one of the worst things.
That was a hard one.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that this is true, but one of the worst things on the FAFSA for a student is to have income, because the FAFSA treats that as, you can use all of that for your education because everything else is paid for you. And so when the grandparents would give money from a 529, that counted as income for the student, and they're like, man, that student's really making a lot of money. He can pay for his own college.
And that's going to be fixed one more year from now.
Okay, so we got to wait.
Right, but that's a very vast improvement for grandparents saving in 529 plans, so we can actually use this money in the right way and not have to worry about, save the grandparents' money to the last 2 years, let's use this now.
Yeah, it gives us more strategies, more possible uses, ways to use it.
Yeah, the idea of qualifying for financial aid or even subsidized loans is a whole process of planning. So when we think about all these things we're talking about, you got to say, well, do we need help on how to pay tuition or taxes? A lot of us need that help when planning for college, and that's what we want you to think about, sitting down with a financial advisor and talking about this part of planning.
Right. What are some things that I can do now that's going to help me with my child in 2 years, 3 years down the road?
Let me just do a basic financial planning, just a little talk about what I believe in financial planning. One thing is you got to get your own house in order. You got to have emergency fund. You got to properly protect your family with the right amount of insurance, not too much, but the right amount. You also got to pay off personal debt, the high interest debt. Those three fundamental things will then allow you to move to the next level of planning. That next level of planning is saving with a purpose, saving with a goal in mind. These are the top three goals people tell us. I want to retire someday. I want to have a house and have a house the rest of my life. I want to buy it or I want to pay it off. I want to retire with it. And then the third one is college education. Mm-hmm. How am I going to pay for college? And then the seventh thing in my list here is once you have all these numbers filled out in financial planning and you're on track to hit every goal, you then have your dream time. Mm-hmm. You want a second house. You want to do other things with your money in planning. That's what basic financial planning, those 7 steps really get us to where we need to be financial planning. But one important factor in all plans is the college funding. How are you going to do it? Highly recommend that as your child is younger, you begin a conversation of what they should expect from you. Mm-hmm. I believe that when we're sending our kids to college, it begins with a mindset at a younger age where you're saying, when you go to college, you're going to, this is my conversation, you have to pay a third of it. And that third, you're going to have to pay. Now, if you do great in school and get scholarship money, that counts as your third.
That's your third.
And I got the other 2/3 because I'm going to cover that. I'm going to save from the day you're born a couple $100 a month. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that number right now. But generally, you can save. I've been saving for your college, and we'll use that then. But the idea is this. Talk to your kid, no matter what age they are, about expectations so that they can build up and get ready for this. When you're getting ready for college, you want that kid to participate in the college with they're all in academically, and then they're also not going to be overwhelmed financially when they get out. So this is why we got to talk college financial planning.
Right. Talk early, and like Brian said, just go through everything with the student as they're growing up, so that it doesn't come as a shock when they hit high school or they're, heaven forbid, their senior year of high school, they graduate. And then, by the way, you got to pay for your college. Good luck.
I coach high school basketball, and in about March is when they're getting all their letters, acceptances, and things like that. And then sometimes a kid will come and goes, my parents expect me to pay 100% of my college. I was expecting them to pay it. And it's like, this just hit you right now?
Like they've been paying 100% of your life all the way through. So
yeah, there has to be a day it stops. I'm not going to keep going with that topic too long. But generally the idea is this. A 529 plan is a vehicle to save your money, tax-free, to be used for that event in the future. Very, very important thing to think about and to do. At Acres Financial Group, everything we do is about you and your family. Your retirement is as unique as your fingerprint. When you sit down with us, we start by taking a look at your financial fingerprint. Where is your money? How much do you have? And how much are you earning? Then we discuss what you want to when you want to retire and what it should look like and feel like. That's your retirement fingerprint. Perhaps you've been sold something regardless of whether you needed it or not. Not at Acres Financial Group. With us, your retirement money follows your financial fingerprint. It's a retirement plan based on your unique fingerprint that determines where your money goes. It's not up to us, it's about you. Give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE and schedule an in-person or Zoom meeting with one of our team of advisors. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE, 833-946-7384, or visit our website at acresfinancialgroup.com. You scroll down to the bottom of the homepage and schedule a meeting right there. Give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE or go to acresfinancialgroup.com. Investing in education for the ones you love. We will explain how important this is when we return with more of Winning in Retirement.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
I'm Brian Akers, and here with me today is Jeff Akers. We are certified financial planner practitioners from Acres Financial Group. What that means is we are financial advisors, here to advise you on retirement and financial planning needs. We call it winning in retirement. That might be your future, that you want to win in retirement. Yep. Maybe you're retired and you want to be winning right now. Now, the idea is this. How does any team win? How does anybody win in their finances? Prepare. Make sure you plan. Make sure you are educated to know what's the right thing to do for all your goals and all your purposes. So today's show is called Tuition or Taxes. It's about 529 plans. Pay tuition or pay the taxes. And that's what we're talking about today. Jeff, here in the second half, you're ready to go?
Oh, yeah, we got a lot to cover.
All right, second halves are when you really got to start playing harder now.
That's right. All that preparation, this is where it comes into play.
I mean, you're not going to take off the second half and sit on the bench drinking water, right?
No, I might get some orange slices, though.
No, I have eaten a hot dog at halftime just to get enough energy.
You're like Barry Switzer. That's an old joke.
I don't remember that one.
It was the Pro Bowl.
Oh, really?
He was on the bench eating a hot dog.
Yeah, okay. Instead of coaching, because he don't really have to coach Pro Bowl.
It was during the game. It wasn't even halftime.
All right. And back to the financial news. Yeah. All right. It's Brian Akers. I'm here from Acres Financial Group. Acres Financial Group, we believe in financial planning, and that's where you give money purpose. You give purpose to what's going on. And with planning in mind, I have to ask this question, Jeff. It is going to be, where's my question?
If I only could think of the question.
Okay, now I'm thinking of it because it's right here in front of me. Investing in education for the ones you love. When I bring that up, how does that make you feel, Jeff?
Oh, how does it make me feel? I was going to say, that's not a question. So
I know.
How does it make me feel investing in education for the ones that you love? Well, I love them, so I want to help them, and investing in their education is going to make me feel good.
Yeah.
Is that good enough?
I think so, but I don't want to go too far off on that joking joke.
I want to help them.
Right. My dream when I'm saving for college for my kids was to give them a college ability to go to college and to come out with no debt, so that whatever their career is, that they would be able to jump right into their career and not have to pay for years what happened in their college.
Right, for the last 4 years.
Right, because I've done financial planning for, especially people, physicians and doctors, and we got to come up with a debt reduction plan into their 30s to try to pay off the mortgage of education.
Right, yeah. You talk about doctors, dentists, even accountants. I mean, it can be ridiculous how much debt they come out of school with.
Right. And so what happens is there are ways to afford college. There are ways to get it cheaper. There's online ways. There's community college ways. There's ways to get the education you want. The hardest part is when someone's 18 years old is to decide the rest of their life. And I coach high school, and I say, you don't have to decide the rest of your life.
Right.
What you got to do is get the education and begin to form what is right for you to do in your career. And do you need education? What kind of education? And where's the best place to get that education?
Yeah, just take the next right step.
Yes.
And so as a parent, if I'm in a position to enable my child to take that next right step, then I've done my job.
All right. So let's think about, I'm thinking of a couple right now. They had their first child 2 years ago. And this child's going to probably be president of the United States or rule the world or Mars or something.
Yeah, so he'll have a full scholarship.
It's a girl.
It's a girl? Okay. She'll have a full scholarship.
Right. I think she'll have full scholarship. I agree with you. But they're ready to save money. The grandparents have already saved what I calculate to be half of college for this 2-year-old.
Oh, wow. She's two.
I asked, can I show me how it's invested so I can project that out, and we'll project college inflation and try to see how much we want to put in, because we don't want to overfund it.
Right.
We want to invest. But let's start with the first concept, and that's a 2-year-old. And let's take away my example of the parents that put money away.
Okay.
Right? It's just the parents, and they want to start. Okay. They want to put some money away. What's in May here in Maryland, it's a very important thing to be able to put a contribution in May. And that's because if you use the Maryland 529 plan, there's a little bit of a match.
Right. You could qualify for a match, if you will, of up to $500 potentially. There's some hoops you got to jump through, some qualifications that you've got to meet.
Well, okay, what is it called? So we're going to tell everybody to go to maryland529.com, and on there it's like a Maryland State contribution is what you'll be looking at.
Yeah, Save for College State Contribution Program.
Yeah, say it one more time.
Save for College, the number 4 in there, State Contribution Program.
So you have to have a 529 plan opened. And every year in the first part of the year, the deadline is May and later in May.
End of May.
And you have to put at least $500 in.
Right.
And you could receive a match from the state of Maryland.
Right. So a couple of the caveats, if you will. Obviously, you have to be a Maryland resident. They're not going to give you this if you don't live in Maryland. The parent, the one contributing, has to be at least 18 years old. So the 2-year-old daughter can't contribute money on her own.
Okay.
And your adjusted gross income for a married couple has to be $175,000 or less. For a single person, it's $112,500.
It's just something people don't really know about. But if you're thinking about putting money in a 529 plan, may you do it?
May. Yes, you may, but only for a few more weeks.
529, think about May 29th as your deadline. Get the money in if you want that match.
Get it done.
It's nice. I don't know how long that'll be in the Maryland law, but it's nice. It's there.
It's there this year.
Right. So the money goes to the Maryland 529 plan, and it gets in there. And then in Maryland 529, there's basically 2 different roads of investments that people can choose between.
Okay.
And what are the 2 different ideas?
Oh, you want me to tell them?
I can keep talking.
Okay. Well, yeah. Never mind. I won't go down that road. So the kind of the popular one for a lot of 529 plans, we call them target date funds. They just say, okay, when is your child going to college? Or how old is your child is another way of saying it. And they say, okay, based on that age, you're going to invest in this fund. And it automatically kind of goes from buying stocks to buying bonds as they get closer and closer to that age. So that's been kind of the popular way. It's the no-brainer way. You don't have to think about it. You just tell them how old your kid is, and they do it for you. So that's a target date fund.
Target date fund is just like the retirement target date funds. It's sort of a plug and play, and you believe it's going to take less risk as it gets closer to the college.
Right.
The problem is it does give less risk. It doesn't give zero risk.
No.
It doesn't dial it all the way to a zero risk. I think you need to have tuition for this next semester or maybe this whole year sitting in cash with no risk. The target date fund doesn't do that.
No, it does not.
And you also don't have the option unless you go inside and switch it to the other side of the Maryland 529 plan.
So the other side is where you get to pick the investments. Now, there's a limited choice of investments, a little bit like a 401k, I guess.
Yeah, very limited in the Maryland 529. That's why some people will use other 529 plans around the country to get more pointed investments, more aggressive, more S&P, more growth managers, things like that.
Right. Yeah, there are some plans that have a mutual fund company, and you can invest in pretty much any mutual fund that company has. But in Maryland, you can pick from these investment pre-mix things that are done. And you can say, I want 100% stocks or I want 100% bonds. You can even say, I sort of want a money market type thing, which Brian was talking about. And there are mixes in between where you pick it. It's not automatically changing every year until you tell them to change something every year. So it does take some planning. You have to think about it and take care of it. But I do believe that is superior to the target date fund, because in the target date fund, when the computer says change, it changes. And it doesn't matter what market conditions are.
Right.
You might be selling stocks after they just went way down, and you're buying bonds after they just spiked. And so buy high and sell low, that's not the recipe for making money in the market.
Yeah, so generally what I think about is this. You have a 2-year-old, they don't need all their money the first freshman day of school when they walk in or have to pay August 1st. They need their money over that 4-year or 5-year period of time. And so basically a 2-year-old, it's almost 20 more years.
Right.
When I hear the number 20 more years, I think let's be more aggressive. Let's be diversified stocks. Let's be in the market. And by putting money in every month, you're buying the market. You can also tell people on the birthday card for the kid, you can say, you can also give a check to the Maryland 529 plan.
There you go.
And you give them you can tell them how to do it. Sometimes you'll get somebody to do it. I did not get many people to do ours.
Yeah, I'm fortunate because I've got a very practical dad.
Yeah.
Who that was his birthday and Christmas gift was you're getting this money in the account. Now my mom, when she was alive, she was like, "But I got to get him a toy."
Right.
So he let her get a little toy, but then he was put money in the college plan.
Yeah. So the 529 plan. So if a grandparent gives to a 529 plan that the parent runs,
Right.
And if it's a Maryland resident, can they take a deduction also?
I can.
Yeah.
What, can the grandparent take the deduction too?
Yes.
They can take a deduction.
Absolutely.
For putting it into the plan.
Yeah, very true.
But I want the deduction.
That's the Jeff way. So, well, the idea is this, tuition or taxes. The idea is this, tuition's going to be there. The idea of total free education, at certain levels, I think it can be delivered like that. I believe that there will be, there's going to be a lot of help towards it because I believe most jobs are going to need to be very technical. A lot of technology jobs in the future, a lot of jobs that are going to require a lot more training than maybe just regular high schools can provide. And so I really think that having technical or college education is going to be something where people to get the jobs to compete with everything that's going on in the future, there's going to have to be some plan, and I believe there will be more and more subsidies for colleges, but there's still a reason to save. We can't count on somebody else paying for this.
Yeah, and those technical education schools, those have become more and more of a premium, and they'll probably become more and more going forward.
Absolutely. The thing about online college, a lot of times that's cheaper, but it takes a lot longer to accomplish.
Right.
And so usually work and juggle, it's a tough thing. And so sometimes
it's hard to go to college in your spare time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's to do it well and to really get the knowledge you want out of a college, because you don't just want a degree, you want to have the knowledge from it.
Yeah, that's true. You want to get the knowledge so that you can do the job later on.
Absolutely. At Acres Financial Group, we want you to think about things like this, where the best part of retirement is where you get your time back. You decide how to use it. Before retirement, your time is tied up with other commitments, and, mainly your job. A lot of that goes away when you retire. Your time is now consumed by things that you want to do. It's so easy to begin winning in retirement. Go to our website at acresfinancialgroup.com, scroll to the schedule a meeting section, and let us know that you'd like to schedule your free consultation with one of our team of advisors. That's acresfinancialgroup.com, or you can give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. And we'll give you a call on Monday to schedule your free in-person or Zoom meeting. Go to acresfinancialgroup.com or call us at 833-946-7384 to start planning for your retirement now. How to know if a 529 plan is right for you. We'll talk about that in the fourth quarter.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome back to the fourth quarter of Winning in Retirement. I'm Brian Akers, President and founder of Akers Financial Group. Here with me today is Vice President, Certified Financial Planner Practitioner, and all-around good cousin, Jeff Akers. Yeah, it's not my brother, but my cousin.
That's right. Our fathers are brothers, but we're cousins.
Yeah.
Same last name.
That's good.
Funny how that works.
Well, it did work this time.
It worked out for us. I'm glad you think I'm a good cousin. I guess you're a pretty good cousin, too.
Did I actually say that?
Yeah. It's recorded.
Oh, it's on recording.
I've got proof.
And we're going to broadcast it, so that's why I had to say it.
Everybody's going to know.
So I shouldn't tell stories, but I got to tell one. When you have a cousin that's younger that lets you win sports growing up, it makes you build your confidence. It makes you like them a lot.
Yeah, funny how that works.
Thanks for building my confidence, Jeff.
My pleasure.
All right, we both love sports. That's why we like winning in retirement. We also like the idea of fourth quarter. fourth quarter and games are what's worth watching, what's worth talking about. It's the exciting. You got to get all this stuff covered in the last bit.
And it's where all that practice and planning comes out.
Right, you got to bring out your chalkboard and start running a new play that's going to work this time. You know that kind of stuff. You got to press. You got to do whatever you got to do to win the game. So we got to win this last quarter of the radio show. We're talking tuition or taxes, the 529 plan, information about that. We're going to try our best to explain why it might be right for you. Why 529 plan might be right for you to consider for your kids or grandkids.
Yeah, we want to save money from taxes and use it for tuition instead. And a 529 plan is a way to help us do that.
If you listen to our show or if you go to our webpage and listen to past shows, you'll find that we like a word called tax-free. Yes, that's two words. We can combine it into one.
There's a hyphen.
But tax-free is wonderful. That means the dollar in that account is your dollar. You're not sharing with anybody else. And that's why 529 plans make sense. It's because of that reason only.
Right. So a 529 plan, you put money into it for education and you let it grow over time. You don't pay any tax on that growth. And then when the time comes to take it out for education, that growth comes out tax-free. It was never taxed. And I got to tell you, I just love never taxed money. That's more than two words, too.
If you throw another idea where I can put money in, take it off my Maryland tax, and then take it out tax-free, I call that almost like a home run.
Yeah.
It's like a double.
That's a double. Yeah.
Because you got your deduction, not a huge deduction, but it's a deduction. And then you get the money.
And it's tax-free on the other side coming out. Yeah. So.
All right, so we got a lot to cover here in the fourth quarter, so you got to press up.
Okay.
So
all right.
Imagine people are going to contribute money. Now, I've had situations where someone was not feeling well. They're going to pass away soon, wanted to fully fund college. And so we funded the maximum gift limit, which was 5 years of 529 giving all at one time.
That was a big number then.
Right, so you're allowed to do that all at one time as a gift limit, as a way of doing estate planning to avoid estate taxes and also many other things that go on.
Right, and fund that college education.
Sometimes people have a lump sum of money that comes into their life. And that lump sum of money they want to put in college education. And if you fund above the deductible limit in Maryland, you can actually carry the deduction forward way beyond the kid's age.
Yeah, so you keep getting deductions. Now, that limit was $2,500 per person that owns it per child. Mm-hmm. And so, you put $5,000 in, you get that deduction for 2 years then.
All right, now the next little thing is a grandparent, let's say they have a 529 for their first grandchild. All of a sudden, number 2 comes, 3, 4, 5, 18.
Yeah, but the first one gets all the benefits. That's how it goes.
But that's okay because you can change the beneficiary to the second one, to the third one, whenever you need to use the money.
What a wonderful tool. And the grandparents can say they planned that all along.
Right.
That's a great thing.
They can tell the first one it's all about you, but in reality, it's for the whole family.
Right.
Because in a 529 plan, when you put money into it, the owner of it can then change the beneficiary, which is usually the student. Mm-hmm. Does not have to stay that same student and become other students.
Yep, it can. I actually had a situation where a mom had funded a lot of money into 529 plans for her kids, and one of the kids wasn't using it, but she wanted to go back to school. So she changed the beneficiary for a part of it to herself, went back to school, and used that money to pay for it.
I had a situation where husband and wife got married. It was their second marriage. The husband's kid was getting ready to finish up school, needed like $5,000. We had a 529 for another child who wasn't going back to school anymore. We moved $5,000 over, and we paid that tax-free. Started to use the funds so we didn't have to get hit with any penalties or taxes down the road.
Right. So if you funded a 529 plan and you're getting through college and you're like, oh, no, I might not use all of it, there are options besides paying tax and penalty on the growth.
Absolutely. There are a lot of options on changing the beneficiary. And then starting in 2024, Secure Act 2.0 gave us a new confusing item. And if you have a 529 plan, it's been around 15 years, so congratulations.
Yeah. Right, you planned early.
And you don't need it for school.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you can use money to fund that beneficiary's Roth IRA if they have earned income.
Right. So did you get all those little caveats in there? It's got to be around 15 years, and you can use it for that beneficiary of that 529 plan to fund a Roth IRA for them.
So generally the topic is if you have an older 529, the child doesn't need it for school, there is a way to go from tax-free college to tax-free retirement up to a maximum over time of $35,000.
Right.
It's not going to be everything you want it to be. It's something. It's a way of using up some 529 money that we didn't have as a tool before. Understand that Acres Financial Group, we want to help you pay tuition and not taxes. Help you use this money the best way possible. And if we don't need it for school, what are our other options? Let an advisor guide you through those things.
Right. We need to be able to make changes along the way because sometimes the plan changes. Things happen with the children where, maybe they decide they're not going to go to school, or maybe they get the scholarship like you were talking about earlier with the 2-year-old that you think is going to get a scholarship. So there are ways that you can put money into a 529 plan, and if they're not using it for school, you can move that to a Roth IRA, and you're funding their retirement. Did I say it's retirement instead of education the first time?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
I fell asleep, though.
You fell asleep because I was monologuing.
No, usually okay. I do the monologuing around here. But what happens is this. 529 plans can be used for the purposes for your family to provide education. One use that we do is a 529 plan to pay private school tuition. Mm-hmm. So you put money in, it goes into the 529 plan, it goes to the money market, you get a deduction off your Maryland taxes.
Yeah.
Then you can use it to pay the tuition bill.
I wish everybody could just see you.
Shake my head. Yeah. I'm not using my hands this time. The idea is the emotions of a tool. Imagine financial planning is a group of puzzles, a group of how you use tools to reach someone's goal. The reason we do financial planning because it leads to an answer, and then we implement with the best answer that we can find. That is planning, and I don't know any other way of making financial decisions.
Right, and that's how we can win in retirement, is by planning and making the best use. It's always what's the next best step? What's the next best thing I can do? And that's where we come in. I
had a new client this week, and we're talking about retirement. And they go, I'm 59, I'd like to retire at 62. And then they go, we have student loans we haven't paid on for my daughter for the last 3 years.
Right.
Because they didn't have to.
Yep.
I said, well, it's going to come out, and the loan interest rate is probably going to be 8-9% when it comes. We need to be ready to pay that loan off whenever the payment becomes due in the future.
Right. Do you have that cash set aside ready to go?
And they didn't, so we started a process of saving to do that. So the best example right now is you can buy a 3-4% money market, a 4 or 5% CD, and you save the money, and then whenever the federal government says you owe money on the student loan, you can pull it out, pay off the loan.
Right. Just because someone says, I'll give you this loan at 0% interest doesn't mean you're never going to pay that loan back. So you need to have a plan in place, even at 0%, to pay it back.
Then we have situations where clients are working in the right type of field where if they work 10 years, they get their loans forgiven. Mm-hmm. But you have to make regular payments the whole 10 years. And then it qualifies to be paid off. And we had a couple of situations where their 10 years were up this year and it's all paid off. And it's a wonderful freedom to have that gone because that was a large number that they had accumulated over time.
Yeah, so make sure you know the rules, the hoops that you have to jump through so that you can get those kinds of advantages.
Because what happens is this. Let's say you want to retire and then you look at your big bills and all of a sudden, it's our kids' tuition. We did a home equity loan on that. Or it's our kids' tuition. We promised them 100%, and we really couldn't have afforded it, but we did it anyway. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, there's this massive bill that's a major part of your retirement budget, and the reality is you should keep working.
Right.
That's a tough answer to give someone when you're doing financial planning review. Are you retirement ready? Yeah. Maybe not.
In basic retirement planning, we want you to be debt-free when it comes time for retirement, and that includes any student loans that you're on the hook for.
Right. So we're not compensated by Maryland 529 plan, but we think people should read the website and see what's out there, make sure they understand it. We do recommend that you have an advisor like us at Acres Financial Group. We think you should check out our website at acresfinancialgroup.com. You need to find out this information. And the other thing we're doing is Jeff and I are doing workshops on this later in the month of May. We'll have them actually in our offices, so you can go to our website and sign up for that also.
Maybe even on 529.
Right. It is?
Go figure.
How about that?
May 29th.
Yeah, I'd have to check my calendar. All right, so
it's on the website.
But the idea is this: 529 plans are not the terrible thing that you might think they are due to some of the press, some of the news you hear. You need to investigate how to use it properly for your exact situation.
Right.
Things change in life, and you got to understand that you need to be flexible with the 529. You have to understand how to use it. If you overfunded the Roth, you got to understand the time limits and the age limits and how long we can let the money go and who can transfer, who can use it, how to use it. All these are all variables that affect decisions in life. So make sure you understand that. And we think you need an advisor to guide you through all that.
Yep, that's why we're here to help.
Yeah, we're going to try to.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Well, make sure you're winning in retirement because you've taken care of everyone in your family and every issue in your financial life.
Yep.
Today we covered tuition or taxes, 529 plans. We look forward to hearing from you. What we want you to do is we want you to win in retirement. So take advantage of the opportunity to begin planning with us at Acres Financial Group. To schedule your free meeting with one of our team of advisors, go to our website at acresfinancialgroup.com. Scroll to the schedule a meeting section and let us know you'd like to schedule your free meeting. That's acresfinancialgroup.com, or you can give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. And we'll give you a call on Monday to schedule your free in-person or Zoom meeting with one of our team of advisors. Start planning for your retirement now. Go to acresfinancialgroup.com or call us at 833-946-7384. Thank you for listening. I'm Brian Akers from Akers Financial Group, and we want you to be winning in retirement.
You've been listening to Winning in Retirement with your host, Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group. Akers Financial Group offers securities through Archedios Capital, an SIPC and FINRA member firm. Advisory services are provided through Archedios Wealth. Akers Financial Group and Archedios do not share any common ownership. Neither Archedios nor Akers Financial Group provides tax or legal advice. Advice given on winning in retirement is general in nature, and one should seek further advice from their financial advisor, broker, attorney, and or tax accountant before investing. Be sure to read each prospectus carefully to understand all the risks associated with each investment. Examples and scenarios shared are meant to be for illustrative purposes only. Past performance is not indicative of future results.